It is a challenge though, because smoke and dark mocha aren't on the website, but it's still good from a customer standpoint to see what we have. So I understand why it's there. It's just one of those things that makes it a little bit more challenging when we're having a conversation with the customer.
So smoke and dark mocha, they're colors that were brought on relatively recently.
Right.
Right. I think they might be more popular in the like outdoor kitchen space. Potentially. I know there's some other colors that we don't carry as regularly that are used for things like outdoor kitchens. The vast majority, of course, of what we carry are whites and white derivatives, right? It's white, slightly off white, almost to the point
grays and blacks.
Yeah, grays and blacks. It's obviously from a marine perspective, most boats are white for light reflection and heat and all that.
I think that worked for a long time. You're starting to see there's a lot more boats. A lot of the shallow water skiffs, a lot of the go fast boats down in South Florida are moving to more of a black
and gray
combinations, right? And so they kind of look like a stealth bomber, if you will.
Are they not hot as hell?
In some cases, they probably are.
They probably are.
That's what the people are wanting.
Yeah,
but a lot
you
of
wonder
times
if it's cool in the magazine and not as
application.
cool.
They're not stepping on them or anything like that.
Yeah.
The one thing that is difficult, right? There's a lot of times where we'll get requests for tool holders in black, and we've made them a bunch of times. But we don't have them on the website because that is a material that scuffs a little bit easier, right?
Yeah, it does. The darker colors definitely show scuffs. It's tricky. One of the challenges when it comes to selecting color, and that's why you'll see some pricing variances between the main three whites that we cut in a tremendous volume, and the rest is really material yield. When we're cutting a ton of a material, we spend a lot of time, in our engineering department trying to nest a bunch of different parts from a bunch of different customers together, right? And so the three main whites, we're cutting sheets and sheets every day, all nested together. So I can take a small tool holder and I can put it in a run, and it ends up that the scrap, the off-fall that gets recycled is very minimal. But you do that on one of the newer,
the grays or the blacks, the colors we aren't cutting as much.
Dark mocha, you're not cutting as much. Particularly if it's a small part. It's a bigger part, it's less of an issue because the bigger part takes up a higher percentage of the sheet. But a small part, it's almost impossible to do it profitably without just charging quite a bit more, because you might cut the small tool holder and then you have a piece this big
that you're throwing
that
away.
Goes into recycling. Yeah, exactly. And the customer goes, well, why is it twice as expensive? And we're like, that's not even enough, in a lot of cases.
We look at that number and we go, we just can't justify charging you as much. We're not making as much on this order, but in order to do it profitably, it has to be more.
Yeah, it's tricky in that way. But, on the flip side, it's important that it matches your boat, right? Yep. And that's where we do highly encourage people to order sample chain and decide what fits best. I do think that the whites are acceptable in the majority of cases.
For sure.
But here's one thing. You'd be surprised how bad, you guys know, but speaking to a customer, I would say you'd be surprised how bad, an off-white, say tool holder or door or tackle box would look on a bright white gel coat.
Yeah.
It is like what your eye catches, and it'll take this thing that you are just super, super jazzed up about and be like, oh man, I messed that up.
For sure.
Definitely worth getting a sample chain.
For $20 to avoid that, it's worth it.
For sure. So yeah, we have the sample chains on the website. Like you mentioned, there are some colors on the sample chain that we've added that maybe almost we shouldn't, because we only have a handful of sheets of them and they kind of are a special order color. But, on the flip side, that's what some people want and they're willing to pay for it.
And we have it. It's true that we have it. It's just not available on the website. It's like, I know we're cutting a lot of these colors now for the pontoon industry.
Which is the dark mocha and the buckskin, right?
Right, the dark mocha
which is buckskin. Like pretty much a dark brown and then kind of like a sandy tan type color.
Yeah. And then I'm drawing a blank on who we're using the smoke for, but I think
a lot of the pontoon industry as well.
Pontoon industry as well.
Smoke is a little bit darker gray and matches the upholstery.
I think we're doing a little bit for some off-road vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah. They want that less,
a little bit more
white, less bright
Right.
deal.
And there's a couple
of
of customers on the aluminum boat side as well that color matches really well
Right.
for. Right.
Yeah.
So out of the Northwest, there's a couple aluminum hull boats that we're using that darker smoke color. And that's, really the advantage of as we start to break in. I'm sure at one point at Teak Isle, Starboard was the same as all of these colors, right? We maybe got 5 sheets in and said, let's start trying to build something out of it. And I see the same thing happening with these newer colors. It's from a supply standpoint, newer colors that we don't have a ton of usage on. And as that usage continues to grow, we're going to hold more sheets here, making it a little bit easier to have that inventory to pull and cut. And beyond that more customers are using it, more gets nested into it, makes it a little bit better of an option for people as well.
Right.
For sure, that'll happen over time. But focusing on marine, in general, there are advantages to the white. I mean, it does not get hot. It does not show scratches and scuffs as much. It's going to be less expensive. It's going to match your gel coat for the majority of cases. So the vast majority, I think, still are going to be concentrated on the white side. But yeah, certainly on pontoon space, off-road vehicles, and then more of the specialty boats that have the fancy colors. There's definitely merit there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.